morning. Greetings, friends, and welcome to The Bright Side, your nutritional program dedicated to the understanding of the vast world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. I'm your host, Pharmacist Ben, nutritional pharmacist from Boulder, Colorado. I use nutritional supplements where other healthcare practitioners use toxic pharmaceutical drugs and sometimes deadly medical procedures. If you suspect that there are natural nutritional roads to your vitality and health and well-being and to addressing your health challenges, whatever they may be, but you don't know where to begin, you have come to the right place. As you listen to The Bright Side every day, you are more and more in control of your body, you are more and more knowledgeable, and you know you can overcome any health issue. That's why we're here every day on The Bright Side, helping clear up the sometimes confusing world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. Over the last 29 years of practicing pharmacy, I have seen drug-free recoveries from diabetes and hypertension and obesity and skin diseases like psoriasis, eczema, rosacea, acne, digestive ailments, autoimmune issues of all kinds. Recoveries that by the standards of modern medicine can only be called a miracle, but what is in the world of the body, what is in the world of biology, standard operating procedure, because the human biological system, the human body is a healing system. It's a regenerating system. It is designed divinely to heal and renew itself on a moment-to-moment basis. And while some folks may call that healing, renewing, regenerating system a miracle, it really is just the way the body works. If you have questions about health, nutrition, prescription drugs, your supplements, dietary choices, the longevity products, skin health, the Truth Treatment products, formulations, ingredients, we welcome your phone calls here on The Bright Side. 844-236-6010 is our number if you want to wean yourself off your meds or help a loved one wean themselves off their medication and get on a good nutritional supplement program. We want to hear from you. 844-236-6010 is our number. And likewise, if you have a success story or if you just want to contribute to the conversation, 844-236-6010 is our number. If you want to join the Bright Side Ben team and help me in my mission to educate the world about how important and powerful and effective and therapeutic a good nutritional supplement program can be, how life-changing a good nutritional supplement program can be, and earn some residual thank you checks all at the same time, please join the Bright Side Ben team. You can call the phone team at 866-735-2470. They can tell you all about it. You can also head over to my websites, brightsideben.com, or my blog, pharmacistben.com and criticalhealthnews.com. Sign up right off the website. And you can, of course, purchase any of the longevity products we recommend or you hear advertised on the program right off the website, including the Beyond Tangy Tangerine multivitamin mineral powder. Add a little bit to water and drink. And for most folks, you'll notice results. Most folks will notice results within 1 or 2 doses. You can find out all about it at brightsideben.com, criticalhealthnews.com, or pharmacistben.com. And if you're interested in our retinol 5% gel or any of our Truth Skin Health products loaded with vitamin C, head over to truthtreatments.com. Truth Treatments, plural, truthtreatments.com. All right, we're talking fats, fatty hormones, fatty vitamins, essential fats, or as most of us call them, essential fatty acids, omega-3s and omega-6s particularly. These are 2 special fats that are required by the body, just like air is required by the body, just like water is required by the body, just like love is required by the emotional body, just like quality thoughts, quality ideas are required by the mental body. This is what it means to be essential. You gotta have it. Without air, you're dead. Without water, you're dead. Without love, you're dead. These are all essential substances. And in the world of nutrition, an essential nutrient is a substance that's just like air. Recently, there's been a lot of medical backlash, I guess you'd say, about omega-3 fatty acids. Now, ever since I've been studying nutrition, at least 30 years or so, omega-3s have been glorified by nutritional savvy pharmacists and nutritional savvy everybody, really, except for your doctor, perhaps. But those of us who understand nutrition have been really in awe of the stupendously valuable nature of omega-3 fatty acids. Omega-3s have a reputation for being one of the most important nutritional elements, most important nutritional supplements you could ever use. And for good reason. They are powerful nerve cell, brain cell, eye cell elements. They're components of nerve cells. They're part of the sheath, the covering on a nerve cell, on an eye cell, on a brain cell. They're part of the construction of cells. This is why they're essential. Check this out. You can't make a cell without them. They're a key component of these nerve cells. Can't make a nerve cell, an eye cell, or brain cell without these things. These omega-3s are a key component of the cell. But here's where it becomes so important. You get them from food and from supplements. Your body can't make it. Can you see how important this is? We cannot make nerve cells, brain cells, eye cells without omega-3 fats. What happens is under deficiency conditions, the body will stick any kind of fat it can find in those cells as a replacement. You don't think that's going to have an impact on health? Obviously it will. Without ingesting these substances via supplements or food, you can't make the cells, and that makes them critical. Yet, recently, over the last year, or actually maybe the last 3 or 4 years, the mainstream medical model has been attempting to do a hatchet job on how important these things are. Almost every few months, you get a study that says omega-3s fail to help for cardiovascular issues. Omega-3s fail to help with cognitive function. Omega-3s fail. Omega-3s don't work. This is the drumbeat coming at us from the medical model, completely ignorant of the fact that you can't make a brain cell without these things. You think that's important? Well, it's important from a common sense perspective, but maybe not from your doctor perspective. There was a hit piece on omega-3s on Frontline last, I think about 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks ago. Frontline is this PBS show that supposedly exposes scams and scandals in the news. Anyway, they did this piece on omega-3s. It was actually a hit piece on nutritional supplementation in general, but they focused on omega-3s, saying there's no evidence to warrant omega-3 supplementation, and the average person gets enough in his diet. This is what the mainstream pharmacomedical model wants us to believe, that we get these things from our diet. Wrong. You can't get them from your diet. It's almost impossible unless you're eating seeds, a lot of them, and grinding them up. Of course, then you have to deal with the anti-nutrients that are in seeds. Fish are also a good source, but to the degree you cook your fish, to the degree your fish is processed, you're going to get less and less omega-3s. Not to mention you'll have to interact with all the toxicity that's in fish and seafood these days. Bottom line is you're not going to get the stuff from food no matter what you hear from your doctor or Frontline. And it's not fair. To say this is just wrong. This is from JAMA, from the Association for Research in Vision and Ophthalmology 2013 annual meeting. Omega-3s fail to halt macular degeneration. This doctor named Dr. Chu apparently tested not just omega-3s, but omega-3s and beta-carotene and vitamin E, in addition, and vitamin C. And what Dr. Chu determined was that omega-3 fatty acids did not work. They found no significant difference in the rates of macular degeneration. So, of course, now people think they're useless. Here's another one. Omega-3 supplements fail to help the heart, study finds. This one is from, this is research from JAMA Internal Medicine, Journal of the American Medical Association. Taking supplements of omega-3 does not seem to reduce a person's risk of heart disease. Another one, omega-3 supplements fail to show effect against cognitive decline. This is so unfair, you guys. This medical model that focuses on whether something fixes a disease to determine its value and importance does not serve us as human beings, because it's not about sickness, it's about health. This is the problem with the medical model, really. If you want to zoom into the real problem with the medical model, is it focuses on sickness and disease and mitigating or reducing the effects. It doesn't focus on health. Your doctor doesn't study health. He studies disease. And that's not just a semantical difference. That's not just a word difference. It's an entire worldview difference. Your doctor, and it's not him, it's not like he's a bad person. I know I say it all the time, but I want to reinforce this. This is not about the individual doctor. It's about the model. The doctor is just immersed in the model. He's swimming in it. He's swallowed up by it. The model focuses on illness, and it considers nutritional supplementation valuable only as far as they help with illness. But that's not how they work. We got to reframe this thing. Nutritional supplementation is about being alive. You can't be alive fully and functionally without these things. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number. We're coming back on the bright side right after this.
Thank you for listening to GCN. Visit GCNlive.com today.
All right, we are back on the bright side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. Got lines open for you at 844-236-6010. If you have a health challenge you need help with, let us help you change your life today. Or let us help you change the life of a loved one or family member or workmate today as well. We can get you on a good nutritional supplement program. If you want to wean yourself off your medication, we can help you do that. Or if you have a success story or you just want to contribute to the conversation, 844-236-6010 is our number on the bright side. If you want to purchase any of our Truth Skin Health products, including our Retinol 5% Gel and our Truth Balm and Truth Serum and Omega-6 Healing Cream. Super duper. I didn't know what to call it, but because it does everything. The Omega-6 Healing Cream. It moisturizes, it's anti-aging, it's skin lightening. It's great for chapped lips, but really what it does is it heals the skin. When you're looking for an anti-aging product, or you're looking for any kind of skincare product, really, what you're looking for is healing. Healing is the acceleration of the growth of tissue, of skin, of moisture factors, and of collagen and connective tissue fibers. That's what healing is about. It's about the growth of these things. Well, guess what? That's what anti-aging is about. And you know what? If you can't take your wrinkle cream and put it on a cut or a scrape and have that cut or scrape heal, that wrinkle cream doesn't work, period. Because fighting wrinkles is healing. That's right. If you take your fancy schmancy wrinkle cream and put it on a cut or scrape and you don't get some kind of acceleration and healing, you just wasted your money. No matter what the kindly doctor with the white coat on who says that he formulated it, tells you. It's just common sense. But if you use our Truth Skin Health products, all of them, on a cut or scrape, you'll notice not only is that cut or scrape soothed, but it's also healed, with the exception of the retinol, which is super aggressive. But if you put even retinol, by the way, will accelerate healing, but it is a little bit aggressive. But if you use our Omega-6 Healing Cream, Truth Balm, and Truth Serum on a cut, scrape, burn, baby's diaper rash, eczema, you're going to notice healing, and dramatic healing, like noticeable healing. Not like I think, like I know. If you burn yourself with a curling iron, or you got a chapped lip, or you got any kind of scrape, and you put the Omega-6 Healing Cream on your skin, you'll notice results within a day. That's how you know your wrinkle cream's working. Anyway, you find out all about it at truthtreatments.com, and check out our skin health blog at truthtreatments.com. Also my Facebook page, The Truth with Ben. All right, we're talking omega-6 fats, particularly fats in general, and a couple weeks ago, Frontline ran a hit piece on how there's not enough evidence to warrant omega-3 supplementation. This idea that omega-3s, and it is in the news, if you Google it, you'll see all kinds of studies and articles that say omega-3s don't work. It's because we look at work, W-O-R-K, quote, I'm doing little air quotes here, work, as whether they somehow reverse the disease process. That's not how nutrition works. That's not the right question to ask when we're asking, does something work? It's not whether it heals disease, it's whether it's used by the body. The very nature of essentiality, the very nature of something being essential means you cannot live without it, and you will live less and less effectively as you have less and less. But doctors don't look at it that way. They look at the body as diseased, not as potentially healthy, but as diseased, as sick. And they're looking to mitigate or change the symptomology of disease, not to get the body healthy. So nutrients are not drugs. They don't work like that. You can't assess the value of omega-3 fats by whether they have a drug-like effect. That's not fair, and it's misleading. And it misleads us. You have to look at these things as essential nutrients that the body cannot live without, that are not present in the SAD, the SAD, the standard American diet, and I would venture to say the standard world diet. It's not just the Americans that eat crappy. The French eat crappy too, and the Italians and the Germans and the Israelis and the English and every other country in the world eats crappy because food companies own the planet. You know, the food companies and the drug companies, these are the same big multinational companies. Nestle, for example, Kraft, these huge food companies. They own the drug companies in many cases. It's all the same thing. It's the chemical industry, really. So whether or not a given nutrient cures a disease or mitigates the symptomology is irrelevant when it comes to determining how important a supplement is. And we don't want to fall for this kind of nonsense, this medical model BS, because we're going to be depriving ourselves of some very, very important and vital nutrients that are easily available through supplementation. And by the way, do you know there's a prescription drug that's an omega-3 fatty acid? Yes, it's called Loveza. Check this out. On the one hand, omega-3s don't work, right? They don't affect cardiovascular health. They don't help you with your brain, or they don't help you with your heart or whatever, your kidneys, your skin. They don't help you with anything. But on the other hand, GlaxoSmithKline, one of the biggest drug companies on the planet, has a drug that's nothing more than a tweaked out version, a manipulated version, a patented structure that is an omega-3 fatty acid, except it's got a little twist to it. And that allows GlaxoSmithKline in French not only to patent the drug, but to sell it to us for $500 a month. I'm not kidding you. It's called Loveza, L-O-V-A-Z-A. And Loveza is they call it an omega-3 ester, which means it's kind of tweaked a little bit. And this esterifying or tweaking of the omega-3 molecule allows GlaxoSmithKline to own it and patent it, and it's theirs, and they can sell it for $500, maybe if you get it discounted, maybe $300 a month. Of course, most people will just pay a copay because insurance will cover it, but somebody's paying for that. So they don't work on the one hand, but they work so well they cost you $10 a day or up to $15 or even more dollars a day. Same stuff you get in your Ultimate EFAs, by the way. The same, better, because the stuff in your Ultimate EFAs is not tweaked. It's the real deal. This is a classic example of pharmaco-medical model scam revealed in all its devious glory. The only way that we can be fooled here, by the way, is because we don't understand nutrition. We don't really understand what it's about. I was talking to somebody yesterday, or a couple days ago, and she was asking me about the Mighty 90 for her brother. She said her brother was on medication, had a beta blocker for his heart, and I forgot what the other. Oh, he was on an alpha blocker, beta blocker that blocks the heart, and something called an alpha blocker for the prostate. Remember, blocker means poison. So anyway, he's on this poison beta blocker, and then he's on a poison alpha blocker for his prostate. And she wanted to know if the Mighty 90 would interfere with the drugs. And this is a question I get all the time. Will my nutrients interfere with my drugs? And the only reason we can even ask that question is because we don't understand nutrition, because we bought the medical model idea that nutrition is about nutritional supplementations are drugs. They're just over-the-counter versions. We bought this idea that the benefits of nutrients are medicinal benefits. So we think that maybe they'll interfere with our drugs. The only reason we can ask that question is because we don't understand what nutrition is. So, you know, I've been doing this for 30 years, so sometimes I take for granted what people understand. So I try to think to myself, how can I explain this to this gal, nice gal, she wanted to help her brother out. How can I explain the nature of nutrition so that that question wouldn't even make any sense, that you wouldn't even enter your mind to ask that question? And I'm going to tell you what I told her when we come back from our break, and then we'll get your phone calls. 844-236-6010 is our number. We've got lines open for you. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side on the Genesis Communication Network. We'll be back after this. All right, we're back on The Bright Side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number. We have lines open for you, and if you're on hold, please hang tight. We'll get to you in just a sec. I want to just tell a story real quick because I think it highlights the misunderstandings we have, or better, the non-understandings we have about how nutrition really works. So my friend calls me up. She wants to know if the Mighty 90 essential nutrients will interfere with her brother's medication. And it's a question I get all the time. Will these drugs interfere with will these nutrients interfere with my drugs? Which, in my head, I'm thinking, how can we even ask that question? How can nutrients interfere with poisons in a negative way? They'll help the body handle the poison better. They'll make the poison more effective. They'll reduce the side effects of the poison. But for the most part, with some exceptions, there's a couple minor exceptions, but for the most part, it doesn't even make sense, the question, but it makes sense in light of the fact that we think of nutrients based on how our doctors talk to us as drugs. They're not. So anyway, I was trying to think, how can I explain this in a simple way? How can I explain what nutrition really is? So what I did was this is how I explained it to her. I said, you got two kinds of nutrition, first of all. You got macro nutrition and you got micro nutrition. Macro nutrition is calories, protein, fats, and sugar. Those are your calories. Something has calories, it's a macronutrient. Protein, fat, and sugar are your macronutrients. They're the vast amount. They're the largest components of food. Then there are the micronutrients. Remember, we're all about making distinctions here. You know, we talk all the time about distinctions between cells and tissue, distinctions between microinflammation and macroinflammation, distinctions between the cell disease and tissue and organ disease. Another distinction is macronutrition versus micronutrition. Micronutrition has no calories. Micronutrition is your vitamins, minerals, and your amino acids. Your micronutrients are not used for fuel like the macronutrients. They're used to facilitate chemistry. And you guys, someday I'll do just a show on the amazing, mind-blowing, jaw-dropping nature of biochemistry. But suffice it to say, micronutrients are the magic that makes it happen. The vitamins, the minerals, and the fatty acids and the amino acids, these micronutrients are what make the magic of biochemistry happen. And you can't make them. They come from food. And as food is processed, they disappear, which means as food is processed and as we eat those foods, we cannot help but become deficient. So what I told this gal is micronutrients are what the cell eats. Just like we eat the macronutrients to get energy, the cell eats the micronutrients to facilitate its energy. Micronutrients are cell food. And just like you need food to do your function, a cell needs food to do its. And if you're on a prescription drug, it needs more food because it's doing more work. A prescription drug makes the body work harder, especially the detox part of it. And nutrition facilitates all of that. Nutrition is the micronutrients. I'm not talking the macronutrients, which are used for energy and for construction, perhaps, as raw material for construction. I'm talking micronutrients. The vitamins, the minerals, the fatty acids, and the amino acids are what a cell eats. And without them, the cell starves. And just like a human being starves without macronutrition, a cell starves without micronutrition. And that means everything, including your drugs, everything in the body, including how the body responds to drugs, will work better when a cell has its mighty 90 essential nutrients. The mighty 90 essential nutrients are the essential nutrients that your body cannot make that a cell needs to eat. That's as simple as I can get it, and tell it to your doctor. I don't know, in light of this, how could there possibly be a situation where nutrients are not important? Vital and unbelievably helpful. All right, 844-236-6010 is our number. Tom in California, what's cooking? Welcome to the Bright Side.
Hi, Pharmacist Ben. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
I'm pretty good, thanks. My question is about vitamin A. I've been taking vitamin A for a little while now. I was taking the natural form from fish liver oil, about 25,000 IUs about every other day. And now I'm taking the retinol form of it, about 5,000 IUs a day. My problem is that every time I start taking it, like for a week or so, my skin on my face gets dry. And I was just wondering if you knew why that was. And
I would not attribute. I would look for something else, Tom. That doesn't sound like a vitamin A issue. And from a biochemistry point of view, I can't see how that would occur. That vitamination will never, I've never heard of that happening. So I would think that there's something else percolating along. What else is going on in your health? Unless the dryness is just superficial and mild, if it's significant enough for you to have complain about it or it bothers you in some way, then that tells me something else is percolating in the body. That doesn't just happen on its own. Usually when there's a dryness problem, it's a fat production problem. There's fats in the skin that keep the skin moist. There's other factors, but this is the most important factor. There's fats in the skin that keep the skin moist under conditions of either malabsorption, where you're not absorbing your fats, or deficiencies where you're not getting fats in your diet, that's when you're going to get dry. And by fats, I mean vitamin A, vitamin D, and essential fatty acids primarily. So what I would ask, to get to the bottom of this, what I'd ask you is what else is going on with your health? Is there anything else going on that you know of?
Are
you on medication?
Not that I know of.
How old are you, Tom?
38.
Are you on any medication?
Taking Zoloft.
Okay, well, there you go. That would definitely do it. But Zoloft is another. There's something else. If you're on Zoloft and it's for strictly emotional kinds of things, like strictly psychological kinds of things, maybe you could separate out the Zoloft from your biochemistry. But a lot of times, the emotional and psychological things, symptomology that Zoloft works with, are a sign of hypoglycemia or perhaps some kind of food allergen. You got to put a picture together of a bunch of health challenges that you have. Zoloft is on the right track, but because it's more of a mental health issue, you got to come up with some other dot. You got to collect the dots before you can connect the dots, and you have to connect the dots to get a picture of what's happening in your body. And I'm not just talking to Tom here. I'm talking to everybody who's dealing with a health challenge. You want to start to put together all the symptoms so you could form a picture of what's happening in the body. Right now we got a couple of pictures, a couple of points, Tom, and that doesn't quite give us a picture yet. You need 3 points at least to get a good picture. We got I take it as an anti-anxiety or antidepressant. That's why you're using the Zoloft, probably, right?
Yeah.
For one of those, and then the dry skin. So what else? Give me one more point, and we'll get a picture here. Anything else you could think of? You may want to think about it, if you don't know off the top of your head. I would suspect. I would look at the digestive system. Malabsorption is where I would be focusing on, especially around fats. Try this: get a bunch of fat, coconut oil, or maybe Udo's blend, and do like a lot of it, and see what happens. If you notice you feel queasy or sick, it's possible, doesn't necessarily mean 100%, but it's possible you're dealing with fat malabsorption. Start using digestive enzymes, ultimate enzymes, the biolumin nightly essence and fermented foods, anything that supports intestinal health, and then continue on with your fatty vitamins and essential fatty acids. By the way, omega-3 fats might be important for you, as we've been talking, especially if you're dealing with fat malabsorption. Do you have anything else, Tom? I'll hold you back.
Well, the only other thing is that whenever I stop taking it, it goes away.
The A.
The vitamin A. So
hang on, then don't go away. Let's work with that, okay? Don't go away.
Okay.
All right, if you're on hold, we'll get to you when we come back from our break. We'll finish up with Tom as well. 844-236-6010 is our number. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We'll be back after this. All right, we're back on the bright side. 844-236-6010 is our number. Hey, Tom. Thomas.
Hi.
In California. Hey. Tom, terrific. Let me see here. Tom?
Yeah, I bet.
Hey, buddy. So here's the deal. If you're doing a controlled experiment where you've controlled every single variable but the vitamin A, and you're noticing this issue where you get drier when you take it and less dry when you stop, then I would tell you, well, obviously it's a controlled experiment, so you've factored out everything, and it's got to be the vitamin A. Problem is, there's two problems. Number one, you can't really do a controlled experiment unless you're very, very controlled about it. You're very serious about it, and you're watching all the variables. And secondly, there's no real mechanism for this to be occurring. Now, I may be missing something, but I can't see how that could possibly occur. So I'm not going to deny your experience. But what I would suggest you do, and the reason I'm suggesting this is because if you think it's the vitamin A, then you may be missing something. So what I suggest you do is try to control all the variables as best as possible. Maybe switch the brands of vitamin A. That's another thing to try. And see if you can play around with this X factor, the vitamin A, controlling all the variables. Don't change the way you eat. Don't change the way you supplement. Don't change anything. The only thing you're going to work with is the vitamin A. That's what I mean when I say do a controlled experiment, and start to play with it. Do a different brand, perhaps. Take it with with food or without food. Vary that a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Play around with some of the variables with the vitamin A and see if you notice a difference. If you do notice a difference, then you're right. It was the vitamin A. If you don't notice a difference, chances are it's something else. Okay?
Okay.
Be a scientist about it. That's basically what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
The scientific method. All right, Tom, I got to move. Thanks so much for your call, man.
Okay.
I hope I helped.
All
right, take care. Have a good day. All right, Dr. Kathy Sparkle Markle, Ph.D., psychologist, I think, right, Doc?
Psychologist,
Yale, and highly regarded. Dr. Kathy Markle, and fan of the truth, I might add.
Oh, thank you, Ben. I am definitely a fan of the truth, and I'm going to get to that in a moment. I did have a first question about listening to this global, it's the truth about cancer, a global quest.
Ty Bollinger?
Yes, and one of the tapes of one of the doctors he interviewed said that to spread the word about glutamine, that it fuels cancer cells and it's worse than sugar.
I've heard that.
We'll use it for digestive issues, but to please not use it if you're worried about fueling cancer cells because they say it's worse than sugar. That scared me, and I just wanted to.
I don't buy it. I don't buy it. I would like to have a talk with that person on the air, and we'll go into it. Glutamine can be used as sugar. That's why it's so important, because it doesn't have the same effects as sugar, but some cells, particularly digestive cells, can use it as sugar. Cancer cells possibly can use it as a fuel too. However, to say that you don't want to take glutamine to fuel cancer completely misunderstands how cancer works. It's a doctor, with all due respect, Kathy, I don't mean to offend doctors here, it's a doctor way of looking at cancer. Cancer is an environmental issue, and by environment I mean the body's environment. You don't have to worry necessarily about fueling cancer because cancer is going to eat everything there is. You're not going to starve cancer by not eating glutamine, and you're not going to accelerate it by using it as a supplement. Now, glutamine is a fundamental component of the glutathione molecule. So in addition to, yes, cancer cells can use glutamine, that's true, it's also a key component of glutathione, which is your body's fundamental anti-cancer biochemical. Do you want to IV glutamine right in your blood in high concentrations? Probably not. Okay, I'm not saying that, but to say you want to avoid it is just completely, that's got to be a doctor or somebody who's in the doctor world saying that. Because
they're taking that as a supplement for digestive issues.
Yes. If it's helping them with their digestive issues, in my opinion, they need to keep taking it, in my opinion. Okay. And for a doctor to say not to, if it's helping somebody with their digestion, is just, well, they just don't understand is what I'm going is my take on it. Now, by the way, Dr. Markle, and for listeners, there's no definitive proof that I'm right or that he's right. I'm just giving you common sense biochemistry, and he's giving you his view. All right, you're going to have to take your own. You're going to have to, run it through your own BS or truth detector and see if it makes sense to you. I say my position is that glutamine is a conditionally essential nutrient that is arguably one of the most important immune boosting nutritional supplements you could take. It's also vitally important for intestinal health, and so I say take it. And I also say cancer cells are going to grow whether there's glutamine there or not. Okay, that's not going to have a major impact on glutamine. This guy is saying it does have a major impact on glutamine, and you don't want to take the glutamine, even though it's used to make glutathione, body's primary cancer fighter, even though it's critically important for the health of the digestive system and the immune system in general. I think it's a no-brainer, but, everybody's going to have to make their own decision on that. I completely disagree with what he said.
Okay, well, thank you for your take on that. I wanted to get that from you.
Okay.
And then the second piece was just, my gosh, I do use all of your Truth products, and I get stopped by people that don't even know me and say, wow, you have beautiful skin. So I know I just want to compliment your products that are wonderful. And then I wanted to share that last night I had in my, I have thousands of skincare products, and yours by far just
thank you, Dr. Markle.
Blow the rooftop off. But I was using this Pro Peel pad that I had, and I decided to use it before I would put on some products of yours, and I burnt my skin. And I wanted to say that between overnight putting on the Omega Healing Cream and then this morning putting on more, that most of the rash is gone. But I did really use that lactic acid Pro Peel and did some damage. But your Truth products, and specifically the Omega-6, is amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I've been working with that particular product for a long time, so I know exactly what you're saying. Sometimes I feel like, because Dr. Markle, you have your foot in both worlds, kind of. You're a physician or a doctor, and you're a woman, so you're using products. And sometimes I feel like everybody's saying these things, and so I come along and say, no, you got to use my stuff. And there's this jadedness. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. I heard it all before. That's what the last person told me. How do you get through that? My skin is completely transformed, and I will stop using these acid peels that are just... Well, once in a while, once in a while, or maybe use the retinol. The retinol will give you the same effect as an acid peel.
Retinol's amazing. That transforms my skin. That retinol is clearly incredible. And the serum in the morning also changes my makeup. It just makes your skin glow.
That's awesome. I appreciate you saying that. Thanks so much, Dr. Markle. Thanks for your support.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Take care. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you so much.
All right. Dr. Sparkle Markle from Yale University. All right, 844-236-6010 is our number. You know, we don't have any calls here, so I got about a minute and a half, and I got all of these emails that I want to get to. So I'm just going to pick one here. Glenn writes or Priscilla writes, what can I take for my many problems I have with lupus? My doctor is not helping with my symptoms. No kidding, because there's nothing doctors can do for an autoimmune disease except suppress your immune system. How this ever got to be a strategy, a medical strategy, is beyond me, with the exception of emergencies, and occasionally suppressing the immune system from an emergency standpoint can be helpful. But if you're on prednisone long-term, or a steroid, an anti-inflammatory steroid drug, or a biologic, they call them now, these powerful anti-inflammatory or anti-immune drugs, you are playing with fire. Humira, Enbrel, prednisone, any of these drugs that suppress the body's defenses, you're playing with fire. If you need it for an emergency, to quickly relieve symptomology because you're absolutely miserable, that's one thing. But if you're on any of these drugs, your number one objection or object should be to wean yourself off, and the best way to do it is by focusing on gut health. Lupus and autoimmune diseases. Take this to the bank, folks. Take this to the bank. Lupus, autoimmune diseases, MS, myasthenia gravis, whatever, if it is an autoimmune etiology, particularly if it occurs as you reach middle age, which is frequently what happens, 100% guarantee something is getting into your blood through a leaky gut. Now, I said yesterday, sometimes in the world of health and nutrition, people who are in the know via research and seeing patients and who are savvy enough to understand patterns notice things 30 years before you read about it in the New York Times or in the mainstream press. Well, I'm telling you this, folks. If you have an autoimmune disease, don't wait for 2 decades or 3 decades for it to make the New York Times. It's a digestive issue. And this is just common biochemical sense. Something is getting into your blood. It's setting off the immune system. The immune system is cross-reacting with your organs and glands and structures. In the case of lupus, it's the connective tissue, and that is absolutely miserable. And one of the ways that we, almost a surefire way to have an early demise. Priscilla, focus on gut health. Use the Biolumin Nightly Essence. Use the Ultimate Enzymes. Apple cider vinegar after meals. Do a food diary and an elimination diet, bone broth, the Swear V products, or any of the Jordan Rubin products, and then get on the Mighty 90 Essential Nutrients. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. Thanks for listening, friends. We got more good health information coming at you tomorrow on the bright side. Have yourselves a beautiful, wonderful, spectacular day. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye for now.